All right, listen, I got another one. This is before I was in market research. I was in advertising. And then eventually I went into healthcare advertising. And I was working for a company called Common Health. It's now called Ogilvy Common Health. At the time, it was one of the, and it still is, one of the biggest pharmaceutical healthcare ad agencies. Now, did you ever work with someone who just thought they were the greatest thing because they were connected to management? They were connected to the right people there. They just thought that they could do whatever they wanted. Well, this is an example of one of those people. Guy named Jim Clifford, real piece of crap. Of all the people that I've worked with in my career, many people, I wouldn't say I despised him the most, but he's in the top five. So we're working on this account, this product called Avandia. It's no longer on the market. It was a diabetes drug. It was put out by GlaxoSmithKline, who had offices in Philadelphia at the time. Maybe they still do. I don't know. But we had a meeting there, and one of the account people that I knew, no, Jim Clifford, he was running the group. He was the head. He was like EVP at that time. But he was a crony of the gentleman who had started, who was actually a very good guy, of Tom Ferguson. He was a crony of Tom Ferguson. And he was in tight, with all the management, with the CEO and all that. So he thought he was invincible. So one of the account people comes to me and says, could you come to a meeting tomorrow in Philadelphia? And she told me the time. And I said, I don't know if I could be there. I think it was like 2 o'clock. I don't know if I could be there at 2 o'clock. But I'll get there as soon as I can, because I had meetings in the morning. So she says, that's fine, no problem. I go to Philadelphia, can't park. No, the garage is full. Then when you go into a building with big companies, you got to go to the security. You got to show them your license. You got to get the pass. They got to tell you where it is. You got to find it, the whole thing. So by the time I got to the meeting, I was about 20 minutes late. Well, Jim doesn't like this. After the meeting, Jim says to me, in front of other people, being 20 minutes late is unacceptable. I said to him, well, and I tried to explain it, right? I tried to be professional. I didn't say, fuck you. Oh, can I say that on here? I told him I said I didn't know if I could get here when the meeting started. There was traffic. He didn't want to hear it. He didn't care. It didn't matter. And that wasn't good enough for him. Even that, reprimanding me in front of other people. When we got back to the office, apparently on his voicemail, he had I've never done this on voicemail, but I understand you can do it. He had a group of people that were like in that were if he hit the button, hit a certain button, that voicemail would go to all of them. Do you know what they call that, Danny? Yeah, it's like you could set up groups on voicemail, right, at least on that system. Okay. So he sends this voicemail out, and John, you were late, and we can't have that. We're professionals. This makes us look bad. And it would be one thing if he said it to me, but he had this whole group. It was like 20 people. Some of them were top people in the company, and at first I didn't realize it. One of the guys I knew there, who later he became CEO himself, said to me, he didn't just leave that to you. He left that to a whole bunch of people. He couldn't believe it. Now, you could say, well, it's you can't be 20 minutes late for a meeting. But that's not the way to handle it. The way to handle it, the professional way to handle it, is to go to my boss and say to my boss, John was 20 minutes late for the meeting. It can't happen again. Or even better, come to me and say, I understand what happened today. We can't let that happen again. Next time we have a meeting, come with me. Try to do it in a positive way. That's what a real manager does, right? Tries to take an issue and turn it into a positive. But this guy didn't care about that. He was no manager. And maybe a week or so later, I saw him in the men's room. And he had the gall to say hello to me, ask me how I was doing. And it took all the restraint I had. I'm not a physical person, but it took all the restraint I had to prevent myself from putting my hands around his neck. And unfortunately, it hurt my career. My perception changed. My boss's perception of me changed. Top management perception of me changed. I wasn't fired, but my mobility in that company was zero at that point. I wasn't going to go anywhere. And fortunately, several months later, I was able to get a better job. So it's funny sometimes in life when one door closes, a bigger door opens. But years later, years later, I was on LinkedIn and I saw somebody posted about him. And the post was a couple years old. And the post was about how they were sad that he died. He had died like a couple years before I came across that post. And he died of dementia, which is a horrible disease, a horrible way to die. And I have to say, and I don't care how this sounds, I really don't give a crap. I have to say, it made me feel really good. I was glad to see that he was dead because he was just such a miserable person and a person who, for no reason, hurt someone who did nothing to him. I barely had any interaction with him before, and what he did was disgraceful. So if you have people like that, if you work with people like that, or you have worked with people like that who think that they can mistreat you because they're excuse me, in tight with the right people, people who don't care about anybody but themselves. They don't care if they hurt you and push you aside. We want to hear about it because, as I said before, we're starting to run employment surveys and we want to know what kind of direction we should take these surveys. And in the meantime, please log on to opinioncenter.com, join the panel. We'll pay you for your opinions, for your experience. There's many other panels out there, many other panels out there. So you don't just join ours, join them too. Join those other panels as well. And anything that will help us, and as I said, I do this too. Anything that'll help us put gas in the car, pay for some groceries is definitely worth our time. You could do it at night when you're watching TV. You could do it on weekends. It's something that you'll probably enjoy. I enjoy taking surveys, and a lot of other people do too.